Welcome back to The Reaction. Of course, this is our brand new show that gives you guys at home our reaction to the season's biggest games. What a weekend of Premier League football it has been. Honestly, it has been mental. If you haven't already watched Winners and Losers, me and Zach Jalab's take on all of the games, go and check that out right now. But it didn't stop on Sunday. Right behind me, the game has literally just finished. And it's finished Liverpool 3, Arsenal 1. So today I'm going to be looking at the game as a whole, the key players, the key moments, and what's coming up next for both teams. Let's talk about the game first, because this was two unbeaten teams, even though we've only played like 2 games each, coming into this game, both taking maximum points from their opening fixtures, and it's actually the highest scoring fixture in Premier League history. So I was expecting goals galore, especially giving Arsenal's absolutely pathetic record against the Big Six. Away from home, since 2015, they haven't won a single game in the Premier League. 27 matches, 17 losses, 10 draws. That's disgraceful. Combine that with the fact that Liverpool, at Anfield, haven't lost a game in the Premier League in 3.5 years. And I was expecting a bit of a Liverpool rollicking. And I think in the first 45, certainly, we got that to an extent. It was one of the most complete first 45 minutes of Premier League football we've seen so far this season by some distance from Liverpool. Because at the half-time stage, Liverpool had 75% possession, 11 shots, with 5 coming on target. Yes, they did concede that goal, and I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. But overall, the press from Liverpool is a joy to watch. It's a joy to watch. Teams can't get out of their own box. They're just phenomenal. As for Arsenal, they've obviously not won at Anfield since 2012, quite some time ago. And this was the same team Arteta put out in the Community Shield final. So I think they were expecting a similar sort of game. But in the Community Shield final, they didn't have to come up against Trent Alexander-Arnold. And that right-hand side caused them a whole world of issues. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who again I'll come on to in a little bit, was totally lost on that left-hand side. Kieran Tierney was getting just pulled apart by Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold. And I think in the first 45 minutes, they really struggled. 25% possession, 1 shot, 1 on target. But the second half was a little bit more of an even contest. Dani Ceballos really changed the game. They looked a little bit more dynamic in their pressing themselves and on the front foot on the counter-attack, which was really good to see. This was by no means a walkover Arsenal performance that I think you probably would have seen under the likes of Unai Emery 2 years ago. So let's chat about some of the key moments in the game. The first one I actually want to bring up came in the 2nd minute. And it was the Sadio Mane fend-off elbow forearm into the face/chest of Kieran Tierney. Personally, I don't think it was a red card. I think he's just meant to move him away. It slipped off the chest, caught him on the face. He started the game quite aggressively. And I think it was rightly just a yellow card. What do you guys at home think, though? I can understand some of you might have thought that was a red. And I spoke about how amazing Liverpool were in that first 45 minutes, but let's not forget, they actually went behind. They went behind thanks to Alexandre Lacazette's terrible finish, quite frankly. He turns, he scuffs it into the ground. Alisson's scrambling underneath it. It's an awful goal, and it's more awful defending from the Reds. They have looked vulnerable at times on the counter-attack. Teams playing balls in behind them. If you can beat that immediate line of press, then they look a little bit dodgy. And there have been some individual errors. This was another one. Andy Robertson should have done better, just like Van Dijk should have done better against Leeds. Not good enough. And Lacazette gets his 3rd goal in as many games. It didn't last too long, though, to be honest with you. Sadio Mane and this whole left-hand side Arsenal issue flaring up yet again. Kieran Tierney getting left like a traffic cone in the street by Mohamed Salah. Leno, crisp packets for wrists. I don't know how it's just squirmed through his fingers. Mane taps it in. 6 goals in 9 games against Arsenal. 4 in his last 5. They just can't handle him. And then you saw Andy Robertson making up for his absolute whiffer with a pretty good goal. Trent Alexander-Arnold and the whole left-hand-sided Arsenal issue flaring up yet again. Way too easy to deliver the ball in. And I actually think he does really well to cushion it with sort of the stomach-chest area and a neat and tidy little finish. Robertson's got 7 goal involvements in his last 8 Premier League matches. The importance of Liverpool's fullbacks cannot be underestimated. This was an incredibly fascinating tactical battle. And I think at times, Liverpool were almost playing a 2-5-3. and just leaving Van Dijk and Gomez with the fullbacks so high up the pitch in the press. It's beautiful to watch. They're like wingers. The game was wrapped up with Diogo Jota scoring the third for Liverpool, making it 3-1. He actually had a great chance to make it 3-1 a little bit before that, put it into the side netting, and then Mohamed Salah, pretty selfishly it has to be said, took it off his foot when he had another chance. But the goal, really good. You know, his first appearance in the Premier League for the Reds, a little bit of nerves, takes it down nice, finishes it on the volley beautifully in off the post, and it's going to offer Liverpool a really good secondary option when they need to rest some of these players, which they will during this sort of COVID-shortened season. Because last season, if you look in the Premier League at the numbers, behind the front three, the next top scorer was actually Virgil van Dijk with 5 goals. That's something they'll definitely be looking to improve on, and something I think Jota can add, especially with finishes like that. Got 7 goals in the league last season for Wolves. If he can do that again, maybe get up towards the double figures of 10 this year, Liverpool are laughing. Okay, let's chat about some key players then. We got to start with the man of the miss, Alexandre Lacazette. We've already talked about his goal, so we won't get into that too much, that scruffy, sort of scuffed finish. I want to talk about the one-on-one he misses with the score at 2-1. He simply has to score. That was the beauty of bringing Dani Ceballos into the match. The ball's through the line, a great pass, played onside by Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he has to score. He absolutely has to score. And it does concern me that he doesn't score those chances, because I feel like it's not the first time I've seen him miss a big chance in a big game. And I do feel that if Aubameyang was played through the middle, that is 2-2. I understand that Lacazette drops back and links play and Aubameyang runs in behind, but could they not just use a legitimate left winger and play Aubameyang in that role? I think he would have scored it. I know it's 3-3 for Lacazette, but serious questions over his killer instinct for me. The next key player I want to talk about is another Arsenal player. It's Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Now, I think in this game, Arteta got it slightly wrong with the left-back come left-wing-back situation. I thought Ainsley Maitland-Niles looked really lost. I've spoken about it a little bit before. I understand that when he's played in other big games, you know, City, Chelsea, I think of, Liverpool at times, he's that outlet, isn't he? Runs in behind, looking for that long ball, and when they're out of possession, can tuck into a midfield and support in there. But in this game, he didn't really do either. They didn't put together enough attacking transitions to warrant him, and he didn't support Kieran Tierney enough in the left-back situation. He was constantly exposed by Mohamed Salah. So I'm afraid Ainsley Maitland-Niles, it just didn't really work on the night. Final man I want to speak about then is the bloke who did half the damage on that right-hand side, is Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think since lockdown, he's struggled a little bit going forward. We haven't quite seen the same crossing potential that we saw earlier in the season from Trent Alexander-Arnold, but tonight, totally different. I thought he looked deadly all over the park. Obviously picked up that brilliant assist for Andy Robertson's goal. If he can continue that form, Liverpool, they're running away with the title. All right, next up for both teams, it's a repeat of tonight's game. Arsenal yet again travelling to play Liverpool. I'd imagine it'd be a much different Liverpool side, highly rotated as it is a Carabao Cup fixture, and you'll probably see the same for Arsenal. Plenty of players going to be involved in getting their chance off the bench. I'd expect Diogo Jota to get even more game time in that one, with the likes of Minamino, Curtis Jones playing pretty heavily as well. I'm excited for it though, because tonight's game, as much as it wasn't a blockbuster, I thought it was a really intriguing tactical battle, and Arsenal didn't let themselves down. Liverpool, they're just amazing. Okay, so that's it for today's episode of The Reaction. If you did enjoy it, make sure you go and watch Winners and Losers, me and Jalab running through the rest of the Premier League's action, or ERU, where Dougie Critchley ran down the big Barcelona game. Thanks very much for watching. We'll catch you next time.